so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online, and you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. It's a magical Monday here in the studio as I record. So happy to be here with you guys as always. Going to switch it up a little bit today. You guys know I've been reading from the book Oneness by Rasha. That I view as sort of the guidebook for ascension, if you will. It's received and transcribed by Rasha. So in 1998, this information started coming through her as channeled material. And as I always say about channel material, it is indifferent. I'm indifferent as to whether or not it is or isn't channeled. What is the content? I find the concept very interesting. And what I find even more interesting is a lot of times when material is supposedly channeled, it is of such high vibrational quality and so insightful and powerful. I tend to believe it is the case that it's coming through the person as they claim because of that. But really doesn't matter. What is the information? I view this as I said, the guidebook to ascension as we all move into the next greatest and grandest versions of ourselves. This is an excellent, excellent book to kind of steer you and tell you what you can expect as that journey unfolds. And of course, we all have our own unique path, but there are some commonalities, some normal side effects, if you will, as we can predict with all kinds of different events, you know. And I found it to be true, having originally read the book 10 years or so ago. And so, yeah, and what's great is you can switch around. You don't have to necessarily read it front to back. So I, either take from the Positive Heads Facebook group, which, by the way, if you're not on there, definitely join us there to connect with other listeners. But I'll ask, give me a number and I'll read that chapter for today, or I'll use a random number generator after doing a little meditation to see what comes up. And the reason I'm doing this on Monday instead of Friday, like I have been doing, is this week on Friday, we are doing something very special. We're doing our first P-Head Posse episode, and that is going to be hosted by P-Head extraordinaire Alexa Hauser, who's been helping me for some time with social media and things like that. And it was all her idea, and I loved it. So we thought, I thought, let's give it a try. Basically, she's going to talk to you guys. Any of you who have connected with the show have, found that it has really made a difference in your life. And we want to hear your stories. We want to bring you on, several of you, each episode, and hear what you're up to now. And yeah, just start connecting more and more and more with you guys, because this is your show as much as my show. We're all reflections of one another, and its success is due to you. And, so I just loved the idea of doing a show about you guys. And I have, of course, a lot going on, as I've talked to you guys about, and you'll be hearing more about some of the exciting things unfolding here in the coming weeks. So it also was a great way to not only introduce you guys into the show more, but give me a little more time to focus on some of the other things I have going on. We're just doing it as a trial for a few Fridays at first, see how it's received, see how you guys enjoy it. So yeah, we'll just take it as it comes. But let's see here. Oh, and by the way, if you want to participate in the P-Head Posse episodes and share a little bit about your journey with this show and in general and what you're up to and all those things and how you've grown and, you get it. You get it. Any of that, you can reach out to Alexa at positivehead.com and she will definitely consider what you're up to and, consider bringing you on. And of course, we've been getting quite a bit of response. So I don't know if we'll be able to get to everyone. And it depends, I don't know if this will become a permanent thing, if this will just do it for a few weeks. Who knows? We'll see. It's really kind of up to you guys. So, all right. That being said, let's see. I'm going to read, as I said, from Russia. What came up was from Oneness, chapter 20 today. And before I do, I would like to take a moment and read a review on iTunes. You guys know I love my reviews on iTunes. They help us to reach new people and certainly help to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love. This one came in by Luna Lavender. This podcast is amazing. This podcast found me during a time when I was ready to transform my mindset, higher my vibe, and help me believe in magic again. Through the help of this podcast, I allowed myself to validate my true nature, which involves seeing synchronicities, not being afraid to listen to my gut, and following my creative excitement. I got lost in a logical loophole that wasn't me, and now I'm back to the childlike wonder and creative energy I had before. So thank you, Brandon, for all that you share. You not only make my commute more uplifting, I am more uplifted. Woohoo! Woohoo! Blessings. Listen to this podcast, people. P.S. When I first listened to Brandon's voice, I thought about Rick Steve, his honest and jolly light demeanor and his care. Brandon is a tour guide through more than Europe, I'll tell you that. Pack your extremely light suitcase, heavy crystals, and follow him through interdimensional beings, source consciousness, aliens, and shared brilliance, and enjoy the ride. Aw, thank you, Luna Lavender. I am not sure who Rick Steve is, but I'll have to check out Rick Steve now that you've made the comparison. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to review. And for those of you who haven't reviewed, please do so if you feel so inclined. Like I said, it definitely gets me going. Helps us to reach new people as we continue to rank in the top 5 in spirituality in iTunes in this category for quite some times, which is amazing. And that's a lot due to you guys doing, reviewing and listening and all those things. So, all right, let's jump right in, shall we? This is chapter 20 from Oneness. In the title, there's always titles at the beginning of each chapter, giving you an idea of what you will read in that chapter. And it says, becoming your own frame of reference, perceiving a reality all assume is shared, orchestrating the way the world responds to you, how alternate aspects of identity affect your moods, the nature of remembered experience, the higher self. So this one's got quite a bit. Massive changes taking place within your cellular structure are causing symptoms that many find puzzling under the conditions of profound change taking place in your world. Each of you is experiencing evidence of the ascension process in every aspect of your daily lives. And even though there may be a firm theoretical understanding of the basis for these phenomena, your conditioning as a being schooled in consensus thinking brings you to question again and again what your own experience has shown you. There is no reliable frames of reference to draw on for some of what you may experience. For life, as you know it, has taken a radical divergence from what you have been programmed to expect. You are being presented with conditions of an uncharted territory within the context of your own linear awareness. Your concept of reality will have shifted countless times in the course of coming to this place in your unfoldment. Others who surround you will have reflected some degree of affirmation of the validity of these changes. Yet now you find yourself questioning much of the ground you have covered. Even though many others are undergoing similar upheavals in their own lives, it is part and parcel of the process to drift back yet again into the seas of doubt. You'll experience this momentary sense of backsliding over and over again as you begin to harness the surge in the energies that drives you to peer over the edge of all you have come to know and believe. Your priorities will have shifted so radically in this heightened phase of your transformation process that the choices presented are often between your own vantage point and that of another. You come to understand that there are truly no generalizations to be made about the nature of your own journey, and you will come to own and to cherish your own perceptions, regardless of whether there is contradictory information coming from other sources. This is the time to cease looking to your left and to your right to be sure that the others with whom you assume you are sharing this experience of transformation are still beside you. In likelihood, they are not. They will have followed their own divergent paths, reinforced by their own experiences. The guidebooks penned by those who have themselves made this journey can map the way for you just so far, for each can only document his or her own personal experience. No one can begin to outline what will come to pass for you. This is the time to relinquish the need to reach out for validation once and for all. This is the time to cease looking to the so-called wisdom of another incarnate being as a comfort pat on your head to assure you that you're still on track. You know you're on track, or you know that you are not, and no confirmation from another seeker can hope to help you in the ways that truly matter when you question, yet again, the foundation of your own truth. The heightened stages of the journey of ascension are as varied as there are seekers making these transformational leaps. Each of you brings to the present moment a unique package of circumstances, personal history, and a varying degree of openness to the phenomena of change. Each is contending with a complexity of variables that will determine the degree of struggles with which you birth yourself into each heightened level of awareness. Some who appear to be lagging behind, steeped in resistance to these changes, may suddenly, in a blinding flash of awareness, make the quantum leaps before your very eyes. Others who would appear to have grasped the nature of what is transpiring may linger endlessly, hashing and rehashing issues that had long since appeared to have been resolved. Neither of these stereotypes is a yardstick against which you would wish to measure your own progress, for none of you will even approximate the journey of another. You will wish to look to yourself as your own frame of reference, without the inclination to impose your realizations upon another. There are so very many amongst you who are attaining degrees of understanding rarely encountered at your present level of awareness. And while you are far from alone in your experience of these times, in the same breath, you are more alone than you have ever been before. No one needs to hold your hand through the progressive stages that lie ahead from this point forth, nor would you wish them to, for this experience is not enlightenment by consensus. No amount of camaraderie will spare you the daunting moments of risk-taking that happen within your own inner depths as the higher realizations are revealed to you. No beloved friend or companion can accompany you where you have chosen, at the deepest level, to go. This is a journey that is made in solitude. You have chosen to experience it in this way, as have all that have made this journey through time immemorial. When you return in consciousness and make your appearance in this reality once more, it will be from a perspective that has altered. You will view yourself in a different way, although from outward appearances you will remain as you had been. Your perspective will have taken on the heightened coloration of the highest realms to which you will have become attuned, while many who perceive you will be looking at life through the same lens as they did before. And you will realize that everything has changed and nothing has changed at the same time. The differences that can be perceived amongst layers of overlapping reality will be solely attributable to the lens through which one is able to view it. And passionate debates may ensue as to what is and is not so, with players who have chosen to remain motionless vibrationally, yet remain fully present in your world. These ones serve to anchor a vibrational reference point through which you are able to contrast your own levels of emerging awareness. No amount of elevated understanding conveyed on your part will convince these ones that change is the order of the day. For them, the risks are too great. And you stand as a threat to all that. To them, is safe and sure and holy. To them, you, who may well have experienced a first-hand encounter with the divinity within, are the blasphemer. From their perspective, it is you who may fleetingly have tasted the transcendence of linear identity that is rooted in ego for having such a thought. To them, you are the one who doesn't belong in this world anymore, a world that they cannot see and could not begin to imagine. Yet, you can see it. You have begun to truly see it, perhaps for the first time. These blatant discrepancies in the perception of a reality all assume is shared point to the possibility that this is a reality that is not shared at all. And a survey, even amongst kindred beings that are all closely aligned to your ways of thinking, would confirm that the only one who is present in this reality is you. Yet few are prepared to consider such a prospect. The fact is, however, that the reality in which you experience self-awareness in this moment is a fluid phenomenon. It is subject to the ever-present, ever-shifting momentum of the infinite vibrational variables that comprise it. The version of that limitless kaleidoscope of possibility, accessible to your own limited vantage point, is there for your eyes only. Others may be looking at life through the same ethers, yet they will not be perceiving the world in the way you do. How could they? They are not you, and it is you who is creating all of it, as are they. Allow each other the grace of the perfection of his/her life vision, regardless of whether, from your perspective, that view is tainted. Neither of you is wrong. Each of you is right, based on the reality each is capable of perceiving. And in the collective, all are right, for all perspectives coexist simultaneously, none canceling out the other, regardless of the level of conflict represented. That is the nature of this creation. All of it simply is. What of it you wish to sample is the option that is eternally present, and those options hold less and less allure as you progress on this journey. The tantalizing excitements they may once have formed the focus of your life begin to seem hollow and pointless and reveal themselves as avenues to ego gratification. They are the reference points in a world that is based upon pleasuring the self and cultivating the favors of others. They are goals that may once have seemed attainable through the application of a lifetime of toil and shrewd strategy. Yet once attained, all appear shallow and empty. There is not one amongst you who has harvested the fullness of material success who was utterly gratified by it. There always was something missing, and so you chose to come back to chase that elusive something yet again, a different prize that was in the end equally empty. At this stage in your journey, you have stepped back from your investment in attaining any of those brass rings. And from the overview of blessed detachment, you can see the world around you swirling on a myriad carousels, reaching for, yearning for, striving for, cheating for, stealing for, killing for, whatever it is they pinpoint as the focus of their attention. All of them are hooked on attaining the elusive something that is eternally out of reach. That elusive something that must continue to perceive as being out there somewhere. Perhaps you have come to recognize that it isn't out there at all. Perhaps you have reached a point as you read these words where you have recognized the futility in all of it. And as you continue to watch the world around you skirting the perimeter of its hopes and dreams, you recognize that you are not really a part of that game anymore. It was fun, it was rich, it may even have been interesting in parts, but mostly it wasn't. Mostly it was disappointing, not just for you personally, but for virtually all of you. That's the name of this game. That's what keeps you coming back to try your luck yet again. Ultimately, you reach a point where the prizes in the carnival no longer hold any appeal. That's when you begin seeking that elusive something somewhere else entirely. You know, without a doubt, that it isn't out there anywhere. It is within. Many of you walk amongst the masses knowing that you are focused in a different way than are most. Having sampled much of what life has to offer, you have declined its invitation to partake of more. Many have walked away from all that is familiar and predictable on a path that others do not understand, a path that, to the casual observer, is leading nowhere. Such paths abound in your reality, intersecting with the more heavily trafficked thoroughfares of the material world. You need not disappear upon a mountaintop to pursue the calling of your heart, not unless you choose to. The highways and byways of this world all potentially lead to the key crossroads where you may explore the richness of another kind of scenery entirely, right there in your own backyard. And you will come to recognize that your own rarefied vision of reality holds a powerful resonance amongst the more mundane imagery that surrounds you. Even though you can often feel that the trail you blaze through your very own neighborhood is regarded with skepticism and mockery, it has not gone unnoticed. Those of you who have chosen to experience your awakening amongst the masses are planting the seeds of that heightened perspective in plain view, right where the world needs them most. Even though others may not be able to see their world from your vantage point, they will have observed you. The lives of those you touch, even in passing, or teach by example, as you follow your own inner path in their presence, will be transformed by it. As the nuances of your life's variations continue to play out, according to your choices, you begin to be able to direct what will be experienced and when. When the hoped for result is not forthcoming easily, you have learned to sidestep the circumstances and go within, calming the turbulent inner seas that may be manifesting as discord in your outer world. You have learned to dematerialize one set of circumstances and substitute another variation on the same theme simply by modifying your own inner state of beingness. You have become adept at jumping between realities, marveling at the sudden improvement of a situation, or groaning as your bubble bursts yet again. You have become a master of the art of ascension, and most of you have not even been aware of it. The ever-shifting imagery of experiential possibility presents itself for your scrutiny, one circumstance at a time. The players and stage sets you have scripted are there, regardless of what lines are spoken by whom. Those things remain essentially the same and provide the element of continuity that makes life appear as a static set of linear circumstances. What changes are your own interactions with the variables within it. The nature of those choices determines which set of possibilities will manifest in your reality in a given moment and be recognized by you as having happened. The fact is, however, it has all happened. It all continues to happen in a world of realities that are layered one within the next, all of them right here. As you call forth a given set of circumstances with a unique formula imprinted within your energy field, other parallel circumstances are stimulated into readiness. These alternative realities are ever there, waiting in the wings on the stage of infinite possibility, poised for the vibrational cues calculated to carry them forth into manifestation. You alone determine which set of circumstances you will recognize as experience, based upon your choices in any given moment. You alone determine the extent of the ease or difficulty you encounter in bringing your dreams to fruition. And just as you alone determine the way you respond to the stimuli the world provides, it is you alone who orchestrates the way the world responds to you. Your own energy field is the catalyst that determines, to a large extent, the response you are able to elicit on the part of others. In any circumstance, all variations are viably possible realities, capable of being called forth into manifestation with the corresponding vibrational formula. The actions and reactions of others are no exception to the basic principle. When you project your energies upon the palette of the ethers, others are guided to respond accordingly, whether knowingly or not. And you are able to modify the outcome of virtually any interaction simply by becoming attuned to the energies you bring to it. Yours is a world unique to you alone. It is a custom-made set of variables that reflect the nuances of your choices set in juxtaposition with the resonance of the environment in which you have chosen to enact them. And even though you may share parallel circumstances with many of the beings that populate the theater of your awareness, yours is a drama that plays out before an audience of one. It is you alone who encounters the world in precisely the way you do, and it is you alone who determines how long you will continue to watch the same predictable performances. The players who populate your life script are present for you, regardless of which choices you make or which combination of possible realities manifest as life experience. They are called forth to interact with you at the level in which you experience self-awareness in any given moment. And their responses are governed by the collective resonance upon which a particular stage is set in a reality custom made for you. When you have amplified your own energy field to a sufficient extent, you are then able to shift your awareness and to participate in an alternate set of collective circumstances that more appropriately reflects your vibrational resonance. What presents itself upon the screen of your awareness then is a heightened variation on the identity you consider to be you. The others with whom you find yourself interacting are the very same players with whom you might have enacted a given scene in a more diminished environment. They are present in your custom-made reality as the manifestation of their own vibrational composition, and they then interact accordingly with the augmented set of variables you have called forth. Likewise, from the perspective of the others who populate your inner circle, each of their worlds is custom made for their eyes only. Your presence is called forth to interact with them at the levels at which they experience self-awareness. Your responses are influenced vibrationally in each of their worlds in much the same way as theirs are in yours. In this way, multiple variations on the same scene actually happen, yet each of you perceives it from your own unique vantage point. As each of you creates alternate variations on the identity of others with whom to interact at your own custom-made levels of awareness, these alternate aspects of consciousness and the circumstances they encounter combine to influence the energy fields of each of you. For that reason, it is altogether possible and often likely that your mood shifts quite suddenly in ways you find hard to explain. An adverse reaction on the parts of an alternate aspect of self playing a role in a diminished environment adds a sour note to the resonance of the collective you identity. Suddenly you find that you are in a bad mood for what seems like no reason at all. Likewise, when you find yourself feeling elated, harmonious, and exhilarated for seemingly no reason, chances are you are experiencing the result of the augmented resonance of an alternate aspect of self that is enacting a command performance in the heightened reality of another. As these interwoven fragments of your identity each add their resonance to the collective you, each of you struggle to remain centered and balanced at the focal point of awareness you regard as your life. You are largely unaware of the complexity of the composite that, in actuality, is co-creating your experience of reality. Each time you venture into an interaction with another whose vibration is diminished and not aligned with your own, know that in doing so, you are simultaneously enacting the identical scene in his/her vibrational reality as well. An aspect of you becomes present in his custom-made world to interact with that unique set of variables. The result of his or her variation on the interaction between you may be far different from the scene you experience on your own turf. Yet you carry a piece of that interaction within you, and without even knowing why, you suddenly are feeling less upbeat than you might have felt only moments before. Those of you who are inclined to engage in sparring matches with others out of compulsion to appear right in your own eyes often come away from what appears to be a victory feeling the energy of defeat without understanding why. Those of you who remain in abusive relationships long after the adversity may have been resolved are left to wonder why the energy of fear and mistrust lingers. Those of you who continue to experience chronic depression are often simply at the effect of the adversities encountered by parallel aspects of self in the vibrationally diminished realities of others. Many of you are moody and subject to unexpected fluctuations in the way you feel that have little or no relation to the circumstances of your life. Chances are you are feeling the influence of the multiple layers of vibrational input being provided by the countless levels of reality in which you, in actuality, are present. As you come to understand the dynamics of how your feelings, your environment, and your choices merge within you and are reflected as life experience, you begin to become selective as to where and with whom you continue to interact. Ultimately, you walk away from discord of any kind knowing that the price is too high, regardless of the trophy that beckons to you. Ultimately, you tune in carefully to your own sense of inner balance to guide you to the people and the situations that nourish you vibrationally and to alert you to the ones that do not. Ultimately, you begin to consolidate your fragmented identity by choosing carefully the circumstances in which you place yourself and selectively weeding out the parallel realities of others. As each of you ascends into the heightened circumstances of more augmented levels of reality, your perception of the common thread that weaves amongst them as variations of remembered experience alters accordingly. Where previously an aspect of self might have participated in an elevated variation of an interaction in a guest appearance in the reality of another, those circumstances are taken up on the thread of memory where one ascends to those levels oneself. Thus, what is remembered is in fact the variation on the theme in question at the level in which one actually participated when the level is reached oneself. Diminished variations of interactions that one may have commanded the focus of one's awareness defer to the more heightened variation on the theme in question as the fragmented aspects of self merge into the ascending composite of collective consciousness. What is remembered and believed to have happened is no more than an aspect of a multifaceted circumstance with a heightened electromagnetic charge that is perceived when one's awareness ascends into the range of that frequency. In fact, you have actually experienced a mind-boggling number of variations on any given theme. Each of those fragments of vibrational possibility touched you every step of the way and helped to co-create the pinpoint of awareness you consider to be you. In actuality, you are infinitely more complex than you would dare to imagine. Within the scope of each of you is an aspect of self that has mastered the challenges that still continue to confound you. That aspect of self is, in itself, merely a pinpoint of awareness within an infinite lineage, all of which are, in fact, you. Within the collective of your identity, that heightened variation on your life theme pushes and prods you, vibrationally, to fine-tune the issues you have come to master. That aspect of your identity, which lovingly and patiently takes on the vibrational repercussions of all your triumphs and disasters, is known to some as your higher self. It is this level of experiential mastery that walks amongst you within the world of physical reality, in the persona of some who have come as spiritual teachers in these times. There are some amongst you who volunteered to remain in the world of physical reality to serve as the reference points that help those who are awakening to bridge the gap between your present levels of awareness and the dimensional realities toward which you continue to travel as consciousness. These beings, who are regarded by many as saints and spiritual masters, are simply aspects of consciousness experiencing themselves in physical form within the diminished levels of reality you experience as your world. There are comparable aspects of each of you, waiting patiently in worlds you now visit only in your dreams. These aspects of self ultimately will encompass the collective of your linear experience as you continue to merge in oneness with all the fragmented aspects of who you know yourself to be. It is these aspects of your consciousness that reach out to you in dream state and in the depths of your meditations. It is these angels who have come to remind you of who you really are in the moment you are most apt to forget. These aspects of your own self, who nudge you into subtle levels of heightened awareness, are here to remind you of who you really are. At times, they merge their energies with yours and give you a momentary glimpse of a reality you have perhaps only begun to imagine, not as a physical vision, but as a feeling. This is the reason so many of you have begun to experience elated moments of divine connectedness, sometimes quite unexpectedly. This is what is actually happening when you begin to feel your energy shift and an exquisite sense of joy fills you, if only fleetingly, during moments of prayer or deep contemplation or within the sanctity of nature or the embrace of silence and solitude. This is what you are feeling when you know you have been touched by something indescribably beautiful and sacred, and you know you have not imagined it. These momentary glimpses into the nature of the higher realms are experiential gifts to you who are awakening to the truths of who you are. For what you have come to these times to experience is not merely an intellectual grasp of the nature of the process. It is not simply a collection of metaphysical concepts around which you can attempt to wrap your mind. What there is to have is the taste of it, the profound feeling of it, the incredibly magnificent experience of it, the experience of knowing you have been touched by divinity. That is a signpost on the road to oneness. And that ends chapter 20. I love that chapter very, very much. It definitely resonates. You guys hear me always talk about how our lives play out at the corner of free will and destiny. And I feel like this is a great deep dive into that concept, right? As I always say, we're in eternity. Now is all there is. We know if you shoot me into outer space at light speed and bring me back a day later, I'm a day older and you've been gone for like 100 years. Time is illusory. So it's all happened. Your 5th birthday party is happening on another channel right now. You're just not tuned into it. So all the future yous from this moment forward, there's infinite variations of it. You get to choose. This is where the destiny part, your life plays out at a corner of free will and destiny. It's destined because it's all already happened. But free will comes in because you get to choose which version of you step into by choosing it vibrationally. You're choosing it with your beliefs. You're choosing it with the vibrational pool that you're swimming in prior to it arriving. You're being it. You're learning now to be it, to see it. You be it vibrationally, and this is the way you step through all. You're literally popping in and out of existence all the time, flickering. The particles that make you up your atoms, they're vibrations. They're 99.9999999 and on percent space. You are flickering in and out of existence, and they're basically popping in and out, and they're intelligent when they show up. We don't know where they come from or where they go to, but they're intelligent when they show up. It's a light show. You're choosing. It's all vibration. You choose what comes next, which version with your vibration by being it to see it. And what is the goal? What is the aim? To experience the greatest and grandest version, the one that's the most rewarding. Good news is you've already been there, done it, got the t-shirt, right? So the question is, what will you choose this time? What movie will you pop into the DVD player of your reality? Do people still use DVD players? You get the point. You remember them, or if you're really young, you've at least heard of them. So what Netflix movie of your life are you going to stream next is the question. And this has been quite the journey, quite the moment in eternity that I have thoroughly enjoyed here today. I hope you have as well. I do have a song to leave you with. Speaking of, seems appropriate. Just realized how appropriate it is. I chose it before I even knew what chapter we're going to read. Of course, synchronistically, it is called Time, and it is by Closinger. I played a Closinger song the other day. It's Closey and Scarfinger duo, and yeah, perfect. Hope you enjoy your time listening to this song. Till next time, journey well. Love you all. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.